we practiced the percent proportion method of solving percent problems. Today we're going to do the same. We're going to practice 3 problems, but they might be slightly different than yesterday. Yesterday we looked at, all the problems we looked at were all ones where we had to find the whole. And today we might encounter some different situations. So before we start, I just want to write down the percent proportion that we're going to use today, and just to kind of remember what that meant and how to set it up. So I'm just going to do it right here above example 1. The percent proportion is part over whole equals percent over 100. And again, every time we use this, we want to write it for a couple of reasons. 1, it will help us set up the problem, and 2, it'll help us remember how to write it. So it's good that we got it down once. We're going to write it 3 more times because we're going to solve 3 problems in that way. The other thing I want you to write down are the 9 numbers. If you already know the 9 numbers, you can write them down now, but these are the 9 numbers that we can use as factors of 100 that we can use to get to 100, or we can divide 100 by. They're just very helpful when working with percents. So the 9 numbers are 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, 20, 25, I'm running out of room here, 50, and 100. And it also might be a good idea to just kind of pair them up. 1 goes with 100, 2 goes with 50, 4 and 25, 5 and 20, and then 10 and 10. So again, these 9 numbers are the numbers we can use to get to 100 or divide 100 by, the factors of 100. All right, so we're going to solve 3 problems here, each using percent proportion. Now, after we read the problem, we want to think about what we have. Do we have the part, the whole, or the percent, and then what we're trying to find. So here we go. Example 1. 5 of the 25 girls on Alden Middle School soccer team are 7th grade students. Find the percentage of 7th graders on the team. Now it does say show 2 different ways of solving, and then one of the methods must be a diagram or picture model. We're not necessarily going to use that. We're going to stick with the percent proportion just to practice that. All right, the first thing we need to write, though, is the percent proportion. We're going to abbreviate it, though. P over W, part over whole, equals percent over 100. So again, writing that is the first step if you're going to use it. The second would be to figure out what do we have. Do we have the part, the whole, or the percent? We need 2 of them. Let's see here. So it says 5 of the 25 girls on the soccer team are 7th grade. Find the percentage. So it tells us we're going to find the percentage. So we must have the part and the whole. 5 of the 25 girls. So that 5 and that 25 are going to be useful. The 5 must be the part, because I'm thinking 25 is the whole team, so that's going to be the whole. And what we're trying to find, again, is the percent. So to set this up, part is 5, so where the part would go, I'm going to put the number 5. 25 is the whole. Below the 5, I'm going to put 25. Equals, the percent is what we're looking for. So I'm going to put a big circle where the percent would be. That's where our answer will go. And 100 would go here. Now, I'm feeling good because we can get easily from 25 to 100 by multiplying by 4, because there's 4 quarters in a dollar. 25 times 4 is 100. We do the same thing to the top. Times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. So what that means is that's the percentage of the team that's 7th graders. So we'd say 20% are, let's move that over, 20% are 7th graders. So again, like the math for this wasn't too bad. It was just setting it up, making sure we knew what we had. We had the part and the whole. We were looking for the percent. We set it up using percent proportion, and then all we had to do was multiply by 4 to get that percent. If you want to try the next one on your own, you can. If not, you can do it with me. All right, it says we're going to use the same method here, percent proportion. Of the 25 girls on the Alden Middle School soccer team, 40% also play on a travel team? How many of the girls on the middle school team also play on a travel team? All right, so again, we're going to use percent proportion. So we're going to set that up. P over W equals percent over 100. All right, let's think about what we have here. I see we have 25 girls on the team and 40%. Well, I'm looking first at that 40%. That's obviously the percent. Now we got to think, is this 25 the part or the whole? Of the 25 girls on the soccer team, how many also play on the travel team? So only part of the team plays on the travel team. So we're looking for the part. The 25 must be the whole. So again, that to me, that's the hardest step. If you know how to set up the percent proportion, the hardest step is figuring out what you have. We're looking for the part. We have the whole and percent. So to set this up, since we're looking for the part, instead of the P, we're going to put a big circle. For the whole's 25 equals the percent is 40, and the 100 is 100. All right, so we're trying to find this mystery number. We're trying to get from 40 to 100. Can we get from 100 to 25 easily? Very similar to the last problem, we can. We would divide by 4 on the bottom, and then we do the same thing on the top, divide by 4. 40 divided by 4 is 10. So what that 10 means, that's the number of girls on the travel team. So we'd say 10 girls are on the travel team. So you can see we had to set each of these two problems up a little differently, because in one we were looking for the percent, in one we were looking for the part. But what was nice about each one is that we were easily able to get from one ratio to the next. That won't always be the case. Sometimes we'll have to maybe simplify or perhaps even multiply to get another ratio to then get the answer. But these were pretty straightforward. These were one step. All right, so let's look at the last one again. If you want to try this one on your own and then check with me what you have, no problem. This one might be a little different. The Alden Middle School girls, still the same team. They won 80% of their games. That's pretty good. If the team won 12 games, how many games did they play? Now, it does say solve using at least 2 different methods. Today, we're just going to focus on percent proportion. So, first step, I'm going to write part over whole equals percent over 100. Okay, so now we're going to think about what we have. The soccer team won 80%. All right, well, that's the percent. And then another way of doing it too is to look at what they're asking you to find. That might also indicate like what you're missing. So it says if they won 12 games, how many games did they play? So that 12 games is going to be important. We're thinking, is that the part or the whole? How many games did they play? That seems like that would be the whole. 12 games are the games they won. It doesn't include the games they lost. So this would just be the part of the games they played. We're looking for the whole this time. And again, this one might be a little different because I'm not sure if we can get right from 80 to 12. We'll see what happens. So the part is 12. The whole, we don't know. That's what we're looking for. How many games did they play? We don't know at this point. But we do know the percent is 80, and it is out of 100. Okay. So as we saw before, we had one-step problems. We can easily get from one number to the other. I can't think of a number to get easily from 80 to 12. I know we're going to divide because it's becoming less, but I'm not sure what we divide by. So what we could do is check out this ratio here, or fraction, 80 to 100. We can simplify that. To help us get to 12. So I'm thinking, like, of the 9 numbers, what can we divide 80 by? I want to try to divide by maybe the greater number because that will help us simplify it even more. So 1 would work, but that wouldn't change it. We could divide by 2 to get to 40, but I don't think I can get from 40 to 12. 4, we divide by 4, to get to 20, but again, that wouldn't help us get to 12. We could divide by 5, but that would get us to 16, and that still wouldn't get us to 12. We could divide by 10. That would get us to 8. Again, can't get to 12. What about 20? If we divide by 20, 80 divided by 20 would be 4, and then we can get to 12. So again, you could divide 80 by many of the 9 numbers, but 20 might work the best because it will get us to a number that will help us get to 12. So let's divide by 20. 80 divided by 20 is 4. 100 divided by 20 is 5. So now we have this new simplified ratio that's equivalent to 80 hundredths, but now we can get to what we really want to get to, which is 12. We can get from 4 to 12 by multiplying by 3, and then we'd multiply 5 by 3. 5 times 3 is 15. So the question is, how many games did they play? Well, that would be the answer. That's the whole. That's the total number of games. So the team played 15 games. So that means they won 12. Now it's soccer, so I'm unclear as to whether they lost or tied those other games. So we're not sure of their record, but we do know they won 12 out of 15, which is still really good. All right, so again, we're just reviewing percent proportion from yesterday. 2 of the problems were 1 step. This one was a little trickier, it's 2 step, but we do know that we can always simplify if we come to a problem like that. All right. If you have any questions while you're working, let me know. If not, I'll see you soon.